to the Good Enough Battle Companies podcast with myself, Chris Piercy from Good Enough Scenery, joined as ever by Stephen from When I Can Hobby. How are you doing?
I am doing good, just busy. Lovely weather. Good to have nice weather, but my container now is too hot to sit in. I am sweating.
Can we have a moment of thoughts and prayers for the man who is complaining about the heat inside his container devoted entirely for hobbying? I mean,
I need sympathy for this.
Yeah, we'll start a crowdfunder for your for some air conditioning for you, shall we?
Oh yes, please.
Yeah, I mean it's only right, isn't it?
No, 100%.
So we are today going to be. Let me tell you what's going to be happening in today's episode. So we are going to probably talk about a couple of companies as always. So we're going to be talking about the past of the Druadan, and we're going to be talking about the Warg Riders, who I have a lot of love for, I have to say. We're going to be talking about a completely mental scenario that we kind of combined two scenarios, and it was great fun. And we're also going to be talking about the Seas Ground scenario from the community rules. So to begin with, let's talk about our last game. That was fun, wasn't it?
I mean, I want to replay it, and so to recap, not to sound like a pitiful loser, the game that we played was Seize the Outpost, where you have the outpost in the middle, which is made by Chris, which is one of his it's the Rohan fort that he's built. Lovely fort, great thing to play over and around, except I seem to just die all on one side of it. But yeah, Seize the Outpost, there's goblins inside it. You got to kill the goblins, and then the winning conditions is most characters inside, isn't it? Until broken, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's once a force, one of the forces is broken on a roll of a 1 or a 2, the game can end, and whoever's got the most model inside of the outpost is declared the winner. And it's orcs inside, not goblins. Small point.
But orcs. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, but we didn't just play the normal Seize the Outpost because I mean I love that. I love the Seize the Outpost thing. We didn't play the normal version. What we decided to do was combine Seize the Outpost with the Wolves Attack. So at the end of every turn, we rolled a dice on a 4+. We rolled another dice. However, whatever number showed on that dice was however many wargs turned up on the board edges. So it was like, yeah, we're running away from wargs and we're trying to get inside of this outpost because if we get inside of this outpost, then we're going to be a bit safer from the wargs. So they kind of operated on a very much charge the nearest model, simple AI type thing. And there was a lot of slaughter. There was a lot of Urukai death. There was a lot of Warg death. There was a lot of Orc death. There wasn't a huge amount of Fiefdoms death.
No, not at all. So, I mean, the thing is, it's one of those ones. So on CC Outpost, the setup is there's an outpost in the middle. There's 2 entrances on the. So you got deployment is opposite board edges. So say north and south is deployment, and then what you have is you have the outpost, and it's long ways. It's 6 inches from your deployment zone is the edge bit, or however it works out. But then on east and west is the gate entrances. So you have to either go in and around into the gates to get in, or on the side there's a ladder to climb. Turns out, so I went for both ways. We both split our forces. You know, one went going around for one gate, the other one went round for the other gate. Chris, obviously with horses and charging, just absolutely destroyed it and got in there. Myself, just got stuck at the gate because by the time I got to the gate, Chris's horses were at the gate, like, you know, he literally
from the inside,
from the inside, and there was orcs in the middle of us. So it was an orc sarnie with Urukai on the outside and fiefdoms on the inside, and it's just a slaughter fest. And then I couldn't get in. I couldn't get in that way. And on the other side, I split my force in half, and the other guys were going to go up the ladder. Couldn't get up the ladder. Just literally, I got one guy up the ladder. He held himself up the top for a little while, then he died. And then the rest of them, I had about 5 guys at the bottom of the ladder trying to climb it, and it just wasn't happening. And then the wargs came, and it turned around. my guys outside were literally just fighting wargs after wargs after wargs. I mean, experience points, we racked them up. I think, how many did we count the wounds that we inflicted?
I counted mine, so I had across my 12 models there were 41 wounds inflicted, which is just like insanity.
I think I was below. I was in the 30s. I was with the wounds, but yeah, I mean, it was doing brilliant on that end. Like, you know, killing wargs like no tomorrow. But it was one of those ones. Like, my plan was to get in. We had battlements on our outpost business made. So you climb up on the side, and then you're on the upper level. And I had my archers there with crossbows, and I just wanted to get up on the top there and start firing down at the Chris's forces from the safety of somewhere up high, just seeing if we could do some damage. Whilst the other guys were going to be dealing with them from the other side. Alas, it was not to be.
No, it was.
My guys did well.
I'll be honest.
Well, they did well against the wargs, not against.
Yeah, I mean, you were cutting down a lot of wargs. It was. I think that honestly, the game came down to two things. One was my superior shooting, because I got a lot of wounds with my archers, because they were able to shoot the guys, shoot the orcs that were defending my ladder quite easily, because they hit on threes, and I just didn't move them, and just was like, yeah, I'm going to keep shooting until that ladder's clear. So I was able to, and my cavalry, so that meant I got into the outpost quicker than you did. But then it came down to one priority roll in which I was able to then climb up the inside of the internal ladder, and then put two half decent guys at the top of the ladder you were trying to get up. So you were having to fight through two of my guys, like every single time, and every single turn is like, yeah, I've got you beat on fight value, and you keep just, either dying or falling back down the ladder or something. And it was just, it was like one of those things where you go, this is a really unfun thing to play against, me doing this. But I quite like winning, so I'm going to be a dick about this and just kind of just do what I'm going to do.
I mean, I enjoyed the way that we changed the game round and the thematics of it. Just the fact is, we're trying to climb that ladder. My guys were trying to climb the ladder for ages, kept getting beat down. And then it's just a case of there's so many wargs. It's like I haven't got time to try and climb a ladder and fight my way up a ladder. It was just turn and face and hold our ground. And it was wave after wave. It's just probably having your two guys up there, a little bit Monty Python at the top. Slapping their heads.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
It was, yeah. Look, I would like to play it again because it came down. It didn't ruin it for me. Nothing like that. I mean, it was interesting. I would play that scenario 100 times again. If I was to rate that scenario, it's a solid 9 out of 10. Just adding those wargs, adding that little bit of we need to get in quickly kind of thing. Yeah, I would play it again in a heartbeat. I enjoyed it, although I got absolutely ruined. I think I killed 2 of your guys, and I was down to and that was the other thing. I was broken, and every single dice roll on the break, it didn't roll a 1 or a 2. I just stayed there dying.
Yeah, it's kept on going.
Yeah.
So I think people might potentially be interested in how our companies are getting on. So rather than go through every single model, can I hear your starting heroes? I want to hear what paths you put them on and their stats and special rules and stuff. We'll take it in turn. So tell me about your leader.
So that's Uluk Ironjaw. So he is sitting. He's at 68 points. He's a level 7. He's part of the general. He's got Levi example, Yokai Grog. Oh yeah. He hasn't got Yokai Grog now.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons you did use that last game, and I still had to keep reminding you of it. So you don't have that anymore.
So, but yeah, his fight value's gone up to 5. Up to 6. He's got strength is 5, defense 6. The rest is the same. 1, 1, 3 for attacks, wounds, and courage. His might is 3, so he's okay, but he's not my my favorite one. It's my sergeant Gruul Skullsplitter, who's on Path of the Defender. So he's got special rules fend off. He's fight 6, 4+. It's strength 5, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 2 might, and 2 fate. So he's a bit more. He did something near about 11 wounds in that last game. He was.
He was the one.
He was on his own, just holding the Wargs off on his own. Like, he did well there. Like, So yeah, no, he's doing well. Then I got Kogor Shadow Reaper. He's on path for the Skirmisher. He's not done as well as I would have liked.
Okay.
He's not followed the path like I wanted him to follow the path. Just the upgrade rolls aren't there. Like, he's 63 points. He's a level 7. He's doing, could do better.
Do better. Like a school report, could do better.
Could do better. And then I managed to get a couple more Berserkers as heroes, path to heroes. So they're both warriors, they are.
Nice.
But yeah. So yeah, and back over to Chris.
So I hadn't quite noticed how Blood Bowl inspired your Uruk's names are. They absolutely sound like they should be Blood Bowl heroes.
Yeah.
So I've gone very thematic with my leader's name, my heroes' names. So Imrahil, Prince Imrahil from. Actually bought the Prince Imrahil model, which just because I could.
Yeah.
So he's coming in hot at 101 points. So movement 6, fight 5, but fight 6 if he charges. Strength 4, defense 7, 2 attacks, 1 wound. Courage is up to 5, 3 might, 1 will, 1 fate. He's got an armored horse now. He's got a lance, which gives him +1 to wound on the charge. He's got heroic march. He's also got lead by example, which allows you to, which gives you +1 courage to anyone within 6 inches of you. Got master of battle, which on a 2+ allows you to copy the heroic action of someone else within 6 inches of you, I think. He's got for the White City, which is the +1 to the fight value if you charge. And he's got inspiring presence, which means that he's a 3-inch banner. So absolutely, he's hasn't really got any. He's only got 1 wound. Apart from that, he's pretty decent. But with 3 might and 1 fate, it means that he's effectively got a 2nd wound, as long as you haven't spent the might, because you can't fail with the fate roll if you've got 3 might. On to Dwin here. He's on 68 points. He's Imrahil's on par for the general. Sorry, Dwin here's on par for the ranger. So he's a Blackroot Veil archer. So he is fight 5 on a 3+ to shoot. Nothing fancy with the rest of his stats. The strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, 4 courage, 3 might, which is always good, 1 will, 1 fate. His special rules is where he comes into it. So annoyingly, I haven't got the free heroic shoot thing yet, because that's the main reason I put him on par for the ranger, because he's got Deadeye Shot. Now, Deadeye Shot means that if you are shooting as part of a heroic shoot, you get to re-roll in the way rolls. Okay, so
nice.
If and when I get that, all of the any archers within 6 inches of him will get to re-roll all of the in the way rolls, because they all have Deadeye Shot as part of their base profile. He's got Expert Shot though, which means he gets 2 shots per turn. He's got Pinpoint Shot, which means that he can re-roll 1s to wound, and he's just at the end of this game picked up Seasoned Archer. Now, Seasoned Archer allows him to move full and still shoot, whereas normally you can only move half your distance and shoot. He's still on the -1 penalty, but given that he hits on a 3 anyway, he can move full, shoot twice, hitting on a 4, which is pretty decent. And finally, Forlong the Fat, which is another. And I've just acquired the official model, but the proxy I've got is pretty good. Apparently, it looks like me, so that's kind, because he's, doesn't look anything like me. So he is a baller. Fight 6, but on the charge, he's fight 7. He's on par for the warrior. He has his strength 4, defense 6, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4. So only 1 attack and only 1 wound. That's the only reason he's not like a million points. He has got an armored horse as well. Now he's got burly, which means he is +1 to wound. We use his double-handed axe, goes double-handed. +1 to wound. He's got oblivious to pain, which means that on a 6, if he suffers a wound, he rolls a 6, then that is like the wound never happened. And he's got heroic presence, which is the double 6 roll on path of the warrior, which means on a 4+, he gets a free heroic combat, and he can do that every single turn. And that in the last game, in quite a lot of games actually recently, I've been able to use that, and it's such a horrible thing to have to face because it's a 50-50 chance.
It's disgusting and it's unfair. A horrible thing to face.
Well, the thing is that he's on a horse and he's got 10-inch movement, and so if he gets that free heroic presence, then effectively he can move 20 inches in 1 turn.
It's not fair.
and he's also got the piercing strike ability because he's got the axe, which means he can be strength 5 with +1 to wounds. And I did use that a couple of times because I felt like I was going to win the fight at fight 7. So so he's really, really good. And I've got 3 heroes in the making. One of them I'm going to have to kind of shout out to because he's a hero in the making, but he's 58 points. So that's Angbor the Fearless. So that's the Clansman of Lamadon. So he's got the broadsword. Fight 6, strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 5. He's just got the 1 fate, no might or no will. Got heroic strike. He's got parry, which is the most horrible rule to face in the entire game because you can make your opponent reroll 1 dice. And he's got the broadsword special rule, which means that if you roll he's only got the broadsword. And I decided that he was going to. I'm not going to buy him anything else. He always uses his double-handed broadsword. It's a double-handed weapon. There's no single-handed option, so he's on -1 whenever he uses his broadsword, unless it's a 6. Unless it's a 6, and he seems to get a disgusting amount of 6s. So
there's a blessing in disguise there for me.
Well, I mean, I should, in theory, have put him on par for the warrior so that he gets burly. Blah, blah, blah. But I was like, no, I want him to be on par for the duelist. I've gone risk reward on that. So, anyway, so that kind of brings you up to date with what's been going on with our companies. I feel like my company's sitting at 409 points now, which is getting towards broken. Because the thing is, you have lost a lot of games lately, but you're about 50 points behind, which is a lot.
Yeah, I'm 348, but I got 9 again off the back of that last game. How many influence points have you got off the back of that game? I'm sitting at 19 influence points now.
Yeah, I've got 12, and I've been not spending them because I don't want to just I could buy 3 more horses if I wanted to, but I'm not going to because then I'd be even further ahead, which is just not fun.
No, the thing I have found, Isengard suffer massively against horses. It's one of those. I thought starting with a fight for 4+. I was going to be pretty good starting, and then the defense goes up higher and stuff. But it's just they are not.
Honestly, I think fiefdoms. The more I play them, I'm like, given that you start at fight 4 with most of them, not with the Black Root Vale Archers, but everyone else starts at fight 4, and you can automatically go on to fight 5 if you choose the company hero upgrade. It's 50% of the time. Well, if you say priority is 50-50, 50% of the time you're going to be fight 5. So and that's even before you've upgraded your fight value. So I think you've been a bit unlucky with how that I've chosen to use this company. They are bloody good, really, really
They
are.
are. They are really good, but no, it's good fun.
Yeah. 1 second. Just had a comment come in, so we'll answer this and then we'll move on to our scenario. So someone's saying they don't have the opportunity. They wanted to watch the live stream, but they're going to not be able to. So, that was.
Oh no! I think I was going to watch The Office while waiting to pick up my daughter, but I'm not going to pass up a live stream with you two.
Oh, I misread that entirely. Like, it popped up. I said, "I'll read this comment," and it stayed on my screen for about 3.5 seconds. I was like, I basically read it as I'm gonna
pass that up to
no, I think I basically read it as I've got to go into the office, so I can't do it.
Yeah.
So it's just like, no, actually read the words in order, and that makes a lot more sense. Okay,
and that's from Carson Howard. That is
Carson Howard. So Carson has been commenting on a couple of things on the YouTube channel lately. He agrees with us about how boring Minas Tirith are. So there we go. Vanilla. So people who don't like fun. No, it's fine. Okay, so our scenario of the week is actually Seize Ground. Do you want to tell us about that one, Stephen?
Yeah, I'm going to get to it. I just had a complete kerfuffle whilst you've been doing stuff. My Audacity crashed. My laptop charger just literally overheated. I've been having a bit of fun here. So give me a second, I'll get there.
Okay, I'll read the intro while Stephen is finding his way. As two companies become locked in a battle of wits and cunning, it becomes apparent that victory can only be seized by claiming key areas of the battlefield. As both leaders rally their followers, a fight for control of the battlefield is about to begin. Was that enough time?
Yeah, I got it there. So, starting positions. Players will need 5 objective markers. One is placed in the center of the board. Both players roll a d6, then alternate placing the remaining objectives. Starting with the highest scoring player, no objective can be placed within 8 inches of the edge of the battlefield or within 12 inches of another. Both players roll a d6 with the highest scoring player choosing their table edge. The objectives is both sides must claim as many key areas of the battlefield as possible. Victory will go to the company who can lay claim to the most. An objective will only be considered claimed if there are only friendly models within 3 inches of it. Well done, Steve. That's English. If there are both friendly and enemy models within 3 inches, then it is unclaimed. Once one battle company has been broken, the game might suddenly end at the end of each turn. Thus, rolling a d6 on a 1 and 2, it ends. So, victory is your battle company has claimed more objectives than the opponent's. Defeat, your opponent's battle company has claimed more objectives than yours. And a draw is both battle companies have claimed the same number of objectives.
Okay, so I want to talk about this one as written, and then I want to talk to you all about a spicy version of this that my friend is. No, not like that. I'm not that interesting, or am I? Ooh. I'm flirting with no one in particular, apparently. No, me and Dave have play tested a very spicy version of this, which we'll get into as well. But my instant thing I have to say is I really enjoy this scenario. I think it is tactically fascinating. So there we go. Done.
I think, yeah, no, I like it. We did it. We done it. Actually, did I win? No, you won that one. No, wait. I think I broken, and we drew that one. I think is what happened on that one. I think you killed me too quickly, and you didn't have enough. I think it was something like that. But
no,
yeah,
that was Plunder the Camp. But
okay,
So we played this as our final battle in the Rohan against Baharad thing, and you absolutely destroyed me. You outmaneuvered me. You got some sneaky archers up in a tower, and I was no way I was going to get over there. So yeah, I didn't enjoy it so much that day, but no. I think that with the way that it comes together, in that you go right, we know there's going to be an objective in the center, and then we take it in turns to put the other ones down, and then you decide which board edge is which. So you end up having it in a very fair way, because you're like, well, I kind of like the idea of it being here, but if I don't get that board edge, then what am I going to do? So it can also be interesting to go, the objective is going to be here in the middle of a forest, knowing that you've got like woodland creature or a rule like that, which is going to mean that it's going to be a lot more viable for you to kind of go through difficult terrain or whatever than your opponent. So the kind of tactical element of it starts before the game even begins. So this with how you place it down, and then from there you're like, well, typically I decide, for me when I play, is right, I know I'm definitely not going to go for that one. That is the one which is going to be an absolute bitch for me to get, so I'm just no interest whatsoever. But yeah,
no, it's again, literally, like you just said, like, it's one way you play tactically on it. What's interesting is, like, you can set the pieces up, then it's down to a dice roll. And you can set wood climb, those kind of plays, like, and it's also how you decide to get on and play it. And again, it's another one of, you might be able to have people who can cross that board quickly, but then can they hold it against an attack? It's that kind of thing sometimes. So if I had cavalry, I'd go up to objectives or near objectives, but then I'd be like, no, I'm going to hang back to be able to charge into it, get the extra attack, and see if I can clear the objective. So it's how you it is a tactical one to think about, and it just puts a different dynamic. It's not just all out, let's just slaughter each other. You can play the strengths in that kind of game, like, So for me, if I was Isengard, I would be relying on thinking I'm going to be able to hold this objective. Like, I need to get onto the objective to hold it. Whereas if I was Fiefdoms, I'd probably be like, I'm going to hang my horses back and just charge and clear the objective out, and then so on and so forth. Like, or Rohan would clear objectives, or Far Herad would destroy and clear objectives.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, that one. To be fair, when we set that game up, we had a river across the middle. The middle objective was on the bridge, and then it was 2 objectives one side, 2 objectives the other side. And we made it was like 3 bridges, wasn't it? It's 3 ways of crossing the river, like, to get to the other objectives. But it's just like one of them was up a tower. I managed to get up a tower and had 4 archers just pinging down shots on everything. So and it was yeah.
The other thing was that we were in a rush to kind of get it all done. It was just for my surgery. We was like in a rush to chuck all and then I hadn't realised that where we put some buildings, there was like an absolute bottleneck where you could get through like 1 camel at a time. That was the main route from the back of the board to the middle. So yeah, it was just a Far Herad disaster. But I'm not going to complain too much about it. It's what I like a lot about this is things like putting it up a tower, because it's really easy to have no verticality in battle companies and MESBG in general. So I like there being somewhere to go up to that's a bit higher up, or a bit more interesting, or in the middle of a building or something like that, because it's far too easy for it just to be, well, you're on that bit of open ground with a rock in the way, and it just adds an extra element to it. And I haven't really experienced this properly, but the fact that if there's any models within 3 inches as well means that it's unplaned is interesting, because you can have like 9 models there, but one goes, I'm coming in here and somehow I'm gonna maybe I'm a 3 attack hero, and I've got the fight value, and I'm gonna shield, so I've got six dice to roll, and if I get a 6 then I win, and then I know that the rest of my force is broken, so it kind of leads to those kind of Hail Mary moments and things like that potentially. So yeah, I do like it a lot. I mean, I think that the only downside to it, from my point of view, now I don't know if you've got any other thoughts on it. The only downside is that you tend to go for your two nearest ones for yourself, and then your opponent's going to do the same, and then the fight then tends to be over the one in the middle.
No, it does seem like that. I think if anything, you could make it more spicy. I don't know. There will be something about setting up your objectives, because there is nothing about how far away you can set it from a deployment zone, like, and it's that kind of thing. Like, you could just go along and just both put two right next to either or deployment zones and be like, yeah, that's that, and then it's just a fight to the death on the center one, like, yeah. So there's a failing on that. Yeah. How would you change it? I don't know how you change that. Like, it's
I think just making the objectives. I think having the objectives at different heights and things like that, just to make them not quite as obvious, or maybe there being a bottleneck here or there or whatever. Maybe there's an area that makes it really difficult for cavalry to get into, but just being a little bit more, bit more thoughtful about how to kind of put this things from a different angle, outside of the box, that kind of jazz. So
no.
But I'm giving this scenario a solid. It's one of my favorites, so I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I was hitting around 8s on it as well. I think apart from that one point, like you just said, it brings it down a bit, and again, I don't go for 10, so you get.
You've got to say 10 at some point, otherwise the scale's meaningless.
No. So, but yeah, no, I'd sit at an 8 on it. Yeah, it's one of those ones. I think the thing is, like, that one, seizing ground, it's like if you're dwarves something, you do well at it. If you've got cavalry in a different angle, you do well at it. I'd be scared to play. We need to play it. I need to play it with Isengard, because,
we can play it next time we play. So
yeah.
And Warg Riders have got a very, very sneaky thing they can do to make this. And Warg Riders, who we talk about in a minute, got a very sneaky thing they can do, which I'll talk about in a minute when we talk about the Warg Rider company.
Do you want me to go through the comments? We just had a couple there.
Yeah, let's do it now. So Carson Howard, still with us, says, Minas Tirith is a basic company, but I use it to teach my friends battle companies because I have all the models the company needs and they're all painted, so they pay nothing to start playing. Tactics is hard to teach to new players because they view winning as killing models. Several times during my friend's move phase, I have to ask them, is moving there going to help you achieve your objective or just get you kills? I mean, I know that we say that Minas Tirith are boring, but the models are incredibly easy to get hold of. They're very easy to paint as well. You're just going to go silver, black skin, and then that's pretty much it. But stat-wise, they're solid. They just haven't got anything interesting about them. But yeah, in terms of teaching someone the game, I think what we said on that particular episode of the podcast, how they are probably great as a starter company, your first ever one. So, but yes, play the objective, which took me. I mean, I still get that wrong nowadays, but go and kill everything. No. Play the objective, because that's how we drew that one the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because I just destroyed you. I was like, oh, I haven't actually done the objective part yet. But well played, sir.
I totally didn't mean that. I was actually trying to play for killing as well. But yeah, it is what it is. No, but it is. It's playing the objective and learning to play the objective, and every single game is different ways of playing it. So, but yeah, cool. Right,
on to our good company of the week, which is the Pass of the Druadan, which means I have a sip of water.
Yeah, bastard.
Oh, you dirty bastard. Having decided to answer Gondor's call for aid, Theoden King led as many men as he could muster as they rode to the White City to face the might of Mordor head-on. Yet the road to Minas Tirith is long and fraught with danger, and so the venerable king sent advance parties with trusted members of Ganbury Gan's Wolves' warriors to assist them. The combined forces of these fierce peoples proved deadly when side by side, and using paths that only the Wolves know. Remember, the Rohirrim are able to chase down the fell the orc folk, even as they try to escape through the Druadan forest. For the alliance of Rohan and the Wolves has proven to be one that can bring the fight to any that oppose them.
Carson Howard, it's Sean. He's here in the flesh and blood. So, so the starting battle company for the pass of the Druadan are 3 Rohan warriors, warrior of Rohan with shield, 2 Rohan outriders, and 2 Moses with the Moses warrior. So that's the starting battle company.
Yes. So reinforcements. It is a bring it up. 3 influence points to roll. Very simple. 1 will get you nothing. 2 will get you a warrior of Rohan with shield. 3 will get you a warrior of Rohan with throwing spear and shield. 4 will get you a Rohan outrider. 5 will get you a Woes' warrior, and 6 will get you a choice of any of them.
So that's that.
Oh, and sorry, the company-specific upgrade, which I'm just going to put out there, isn't very good at all. A company hero upgrade, know all paths. The Woes' knowledge of the forest paths and usually difficult terrain is an invaluable asset to the Rohirrim, allowing them to unleash the full fury of their cavalry charge upon their foes. So the hero gains the woodland creature and fleetfoot special rules. So woodland creature means they're not going to be slowed down by difficult terrain that's considered woodlandy, and fleetfoot means that also applies to their mount. So it's like, yeah, that's great if you're playing in a forest. Otherwise, it's just
useless.
It just doesn't do anything. So for considering the other, like the Isengard one, +1 to wound men, it's like, well, you're going to be playing men a lot more than you'll be playing in the forest, I reckon. But anyway, advancements.
Advancements, a warrior Rohan becomes a rider of Rohan with equivalent war gear, and a Rohan outrider becomes a Rohan outrider on horse. So,
yeah.
So going through the first one is Rohan warrior. We've covered it before. So it's armor, sword, axe. They can take either weapon. The war gear options is a shield, spear, and throwing spears. The stats are movement 6, fight 3, 4+, strength 3, defense 4, attacks 1, wounds 1, and courage 3.
Yep. So something to point out actually, that with this company you can have a 50% cavalry limit rather than a third. So
okay, yeah.
So that's interesting. Rider of Rohan so has the same stat line as a warrior of Rohan, except because they have a shield automatically as part of their profile, they are defense 5. And of course, being a rider of Rohan, they also have a horsey horse. I can't. There's something wrong with me. I have to say horsey horse. They also have the expert rider special rule, which is a very, very useful rule indeed. Whilst mounted, an expert rider may re-roll the dice when making jump, swim, and thrown rider tests. While mounted, a model carrying both a shield and bow will still receive the +1 defense bonus for being armed with a shield. If the model dismounts, they will lose this bonus. And this is the big one. Additionally, an expert rider can pick up light objects without having to dismount, which is the bane of the Warg riders, as we will find out later on. Rohan Outriders, over to you.
Rohan Outrider is armor, sword, bow. Expert rider, they have Vanguard, so may use a friendly hero's standfast regardless of range, which is handy. And then all gear options is horse. Is that it? Did you get anything else?
Nope. They can have a horse. They can have a horse.
they can have a horse. So yeah, but they got a sword and bow. So movement 6, fight 3, 3+, strength 3, defense 4, attacks 1, 1, wounds 1, and courage 3.
Yes, and finally you got the Woes' Warrior, so she's like your top upgrade. So they have a dagger, spear, and very oddly for what's considered a good model, a poisoned blowpipe. So yeah, we'll talk about them now, I guess. So blowpipes have a 12-inch range, and they are strength 2, and they are not considered a bow, so you can have as many of them as you would like. And they also allow you to reroll 1s to wound because they've got the poison special rule. Now, Woes' Warriors are very, very angry folks indeed. They have got hatred of orcs, they have got hatred of goblins, and they have got hatred of urukai. So if any model that you're fighting has the keyword orc or goblin or urukai, then you get +1 to wound these models when in combat. They also have Stalk Unseen, which means that if any part of their then is covered by a piece of scenery, and you are more than 6 inches away, then you can't be charged, you can't be shot, and you can't be targeted with magical powers. And they have the Woodland Creature special rule. So an infantry model with this special rule may move through woods and forests that are classified as difficult terrain as if they are open ground. This does not automatically mean they can automatically climb terrain in those areas, nor move through tree trunks or jump fallen obstacles. So I think that just underlines that is just a rubbish company hero upgrade, because your Woes' Warriors, which are your top models, have got that anyway.
Yeah, it's not one to. I feel like
it's not one to write home about.
No, I mean I can understand why it is. It's kind of that thematic idea of these Rohan warriors are out with they're out with the Woses and they learn to be like the Woses. But yeah, it's one of those things. So experiences of playing against or with them. I mean, so basically
we haven't done the stat line yet.
Oh, sorry.
So yeah, so their stat line is trash. So movement 6, fight 3, shoot 3. Shoot 3 is the only good thing in here. Strength 3, defense 3, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage of 3. Yeah. In terms of playing against them, I've played against Rohan a lot, obviously. Not played against Woes' Warriors, not a company I've considered playing with. And one of the main reasons for that is the stat line. No, not just the stat line, but unless you're going to pick up proxies, and I haven't seen any 3D prints of Woes' Warriors anywhere. I mean, you could get some random tribal-looking, things, but I looked on eBay as research, and there was one listing on eBay for Woes' Warriors. So the original metal model was £115 for 12 models. So it's like, okay. It's like, I mean,
so. I mean, am I wrong in saying Woes' Warriors are just Rohan warriors without clothes on, basically? Is what it seems like.
They are them with slightly better shooting and no armor, and they're so angry about not having armor that they become better at wounding orcs and goblins and urukai. Is basically it. So no experience of playing with them or against them. I mean, they have a really good advantage in that every single model can have a ranged weapon.
Yes.
So every single Rohan thing can have either throwing spears or a bow, and every single Woes' Warrior comes with a poison blowpipe as standard. So
what's the range on a poison blow dart again? What's the range?
12 inches, same as when the Farharad destroyed you with it. So with throwing spears at 8-inch range and the blowpipe at 12-inch range, it means that you can have that thing where if you stay 6+ inches away from most infantry models, then you can just go, yep, I'm gonna just stay out of range, and I'm gonna unload 15 shots onto you.
Yeah, I see. It's like, but then again, like the strength of what they shoot is not strong. Like, I mean, poison blow darts obviously got a little bit of a kick to it, but yeah, bows are weak. Like, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're strength 2 and you're coming up against defense 5 with shooting, then you've got a 1 in 6 chance of causing a wound. Getting to re-roll that 1 takes it from 1 in 6 to 2 in 11. It's not brilliant. So how would I play these?
I mean,
I think that I would definitely have a Woze's Warrior as my leader, and I'm thinking something. I mean, there's not. What do you want to do with these guys?
The thing is, it's like, so the Woes is having the spears. The way I look at it, the Woes is having spears and having the blow darts. They're a good support. They're like just behind I pair them up with a warrior with a shield. So I've always got 2 in a line, like, attacking. That's the way I look at them. And then the Woes' warrior being able to, spit a couple of darts out as people get close. Is that I probably would keep my Rohan guys going up. I'd use, but the thing is, it's like that. It's just like, all the warrior Rohans just have shields. They don't have bows. They don't have throwing spears. And can these ones get these? Yeah, these ones can get throwing spears, but you have to buy them. Like, so that's annoying.
Yeah, that's influence points gone. So I think let me just double check the upgrades we said. So yeah, you haven't got easy access to. I mean, everyone's fight 3, which is just not great. So you're almost trying to avoid combat. I mean, I think that what I said earlier about the throwing spears and the blow darts is that, and staying out of range is like, you probably want to stay out of combat because you only fight 3, and half some of your guys are only defense 3, which is just. Which means that standard strength 3 wins you on a 4, which is just not great at all. So you're kind of relying on getting as many people on cavalry as possible. So warriors of Rohan become riders of Rohan, and Rohan outriders become So I'd probably have a Woze's Warrior be my leader and have him on path of the general, because I'd be trying to get inspiring presence. And if we were doing what we normally do, where we give 2 free upgrades to the leader to begin things off, desperately hoping you get inspiring presence from on the off, because you with only fight 3 across the board, you're not doing much. I think I'd have a Rohan outrider on path of the ranger, and I'd have I don't know, something like. Probably give someone Warrior of Rohan path of the warrior, just to kind of try and get someone a bit beefy, because there's no access to strength 4. I mean, you get +1 to wound with the Woze's Warriors, which is good because all that hatred going on. You're getting +1 to wound, so they're always going to be wounding on a 5 at worst. Once they upgrade, I might even put 2 Woze's Warriors on that to try and get them up to strength 4. So they're strength 4 +1 to wound against certain races. But if you're in a part of a campaign where you're against a lot of different races, then it's not always the best. So yeah, the outriders are interesting though, because of the vanguard thing. Because you get them on a horse, and they for the seized ground one, they can go off and do the far-flung objectives and not worry about the force being broken, because they're automatically going to pass. They're all going to be able to use stand fast if one is available, no matter on the range. How would you play him?
Literally, it's not far off what you're saying. I like the Woes because they have a couple of interesting things, with the hatred of orcs, goblins, yokai, so make them interesting. Stalk unseen and woodland creature. Woodland creature is pretty much pointless because what's the chances of playing? I mean, let's be absolutely bloody honest here. How many people have jungles or forests or woodlands in their scenery collection? Like, not many people do. Like, and then stalk unseen. Again, it's that thing that might come useful. But okay, if I was to go it, I would do outrider. Would go ranger or yeah.
Actually, no. I'm going to go sharpshooter because he's already 3+, and that's kind of my rule for sharpshooter or ranger. Carry on.
Well, then, yeah. So, it's ranger or sharpshooter for one of them. Woes' warrior, I would put on a warrior path. I would, and then I'd pick. Yeah, it'd have to be a Rohan for my leader. Because, yeah.
I think you're really relying on. I think once you get to 10 to 15 models, and you've got throwing spears, and you've got horses, and you've got throwing spears, and you've got horses, this company are probably going to be pretty competitive. You've got a few more kind of upgrades going on. Before that, I honestly think they're a bit trash.
Yeah, I literally don't. Early game, it's literally I'd be playing the Woes' warrior up with a Rohan with shield. Everywhere to go for combat, getting 2 attacks with spear support is all I can do. Is as soon as I can get throwing spears and horses on the Rohan, that's when it's going to make a difference. And then the Woes', I think they were always going to be behind someone else, but yeah, I don't know. I find it tricky. It's like a dulled down Rohan starting company, and you've got to put a lot more effort in to get anything good out of it.
They are going to be. I mean, I think they could be fun, but I honestly think they are going to be such a grind, ridiculously so. Right, sorry, carry on.
Oh no, I was going to say, what we should do is we should do starting companies with 2 of the worst companies that we list up here, and just see how they go. An experience to worst companies.
I mean, I think it would be fun. At the same time, we get to play so rarely. I want to have actual fun. So
yeah, it will get better. It will get better.
Right. I want to make a point here about how crappy the Woes' warriors could potentially be. So Urukai, strength 4 to begin with. Let's say he upgrades to strength 5. Let's say he gets the hatred of man. That was the man flesh special, which gives him +1 to wound. Yeah. So strength 5 and +1 to wound against man models. I just quickly went on the army list here, and Woes' warriors do have the man keyword. They're not any sort of strange creature that's not a man. They are a man. Yeah. So if you've got a strength 5 Uruk with the man flesh rule, which on my Isengard company, I've got strength 5 and man flesh on 3 different models. Okay, he would be wounding Woes' warriors on a 2, because it'd be strength 5 on defense 3, which is a 3, and then +1 to wound, making it a 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. So I'm going to say I'm going to give this company a 2 out of 10, just because I think it's going to be such a long, painful grind to get them to the point where they're fun to play with. So
yeah,
and the models are impossible to get hold of unless you're Mr. Rich.
But basically, spend a load of money probably for 4 models. No, I don't know. I literally, it's just I like Rohan. This is just.
I'd much rather be playing Rohan. But they could be fun.
Yeah, I know. I think it's definitely. I'm a 3 out of 10 just because I don't want to be the same as you. No, but
not many people do.
No, it's bottom ranking. It is. I can't. It's like the company hero upgraders.
I mean, like, if that was something like, I don't know what it would have to be, but something a lot more interesting than
even if you had the Rohan one, the same one with the Rohan one, where it increases your strength, doesn't it, on the attack or something? Rohan, it gains a +1 strength on the turn and charge. It's like even that would just be better. Like, you know,
it's a really good themey company. So if you enjoy that rather small section of the book, because it isn't featured in the films at all, if you enjoy that rather small section of the book where they kind of sit around a fire and talk about stuff and whether they should be allowed through and whether that's okay, then cool, go for it. But I think you're going to lose a lot of games.
There's interesting in chat here. It says about throwing one of them on Path of the Defender to get the shield. I hope that you roll Bastion special rule for fate saves, and on 3+ and on the 5+ is 3. Yeah, so it's that. But again, I think it's one of those ones where you're needing to put the, again, it's hard work. It's the hard work one. So
yeah. And Carson also says to I started using your house rules of generals start with 2 upgrades and sergeants with 1. Everyone really likes it. I mean, I think it just makes the game a lot more fun to begin with, because if you're just fighting with purely basic warriors to begin with, who just got like a point of might, because will's not really going to be used at any point. So yeah, I think it just means that you've begun a story about a couple of your characters or 3 of your characters before you get going, which is good. You know what? I would definitely have a Woza's warrior on. You know what I would do? I'd go crazy and go, right, we're going to have a Woza's warrior that's a sorcerer. We're going to have another one which is a minstrel, and just go full, like, these are tribes people. They were a little bit weird and crazy and shit, and we're just going to do weird stuff with them, and then have a Rohan guy who's a sharpshooter. That's my thing. But yeah, 2 out of 10, and it might even be 1 out of 10, because I'm not sure who are worse than that. We need to have a 1, so I'm not sure who are worse than that. But I've said it now.
I've done it. What are you going to do? What are you doing?
Carson says Woza's warrior on martyr. God, can you imagine? He's be dead. Just Christ. Just don't even bother turning up.
Yeah.
Right. That brings us on to the Warg Riders. Don't let me forget to mention the Seas Ground thing. Oh, Jesus Christ, what have I done to my house? Always so much regret for my poor throat. What's the... Are you sewing over there?
Oh, no, I was playing the violin.
I know. It's playing the world's smallest violin. I forget what my line is to kind of get me in the... With Sean Bean, it's always, you bastard. It's that easy line that just puts you into the voice straight away. I say it as if I'm an accomplished voice actor with a perfect impression of Gollum. It's like, no, I just kind of say things in a weird way. Anyway, talk cheap.
What's it got in its pockets is precious.
I'm there.
The rules of Isengard and the scouts of Saruman's army, used by the wizard to ambush and harass his enemies. Precious. The sound of baying wild heralds the imminent arrest of the Isengard's wolves. And few who witness their arrival will live to tell the tale. Those who lead the packs are ambitious and cunning orcs who see their position as an opportunity to carve out a greater standing for themselves. Precious, getting the pick of the plunder and giving the wargs the freshest of kills. These warg packs can also contain wargs that are yet unridden, either because they are too unruly or have not yet been brought under the heel of the orcs that ride and train their counterparts. Saruman's Warg Riders will cover much in Middle Earth, precious, always in search of fresh kills and possessions. They will aid the White Wizard is Angel with the One Ring.
Was that about an hour long? I just felt like I was talking forever, and I kept losing it. Just like not my best. I'm out of practice.
Yeah, it has been a little while. So
Yep.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was beautiful.
It was something. Let's say that. Right. Tell us about the company.
So starting battle company is 2 wild wargs, 2 warg riders with shields, and 1 warg rider with orc bow.
Well, not a lot. Reinforcements. It's going to cost you 4 influence points to roll. So 4 influence company. 1 will get you nothing. 2 will get you a wild warg. 2 will get you 2 wild wargs. A 4 will get you a warg rider with orc bow. A 5 will get you a warg rider with throwing spears, and a 6 will give you a warg rider with shield. So, do you want to say about the company hero upgrade and the advancements?
So the company hero upgrade is vicious battle scars. The ferocity of the warg is well documented by the array of scars and flesh wounds it possesses. Such viciousness is enough to strike fear into the hearts of those that must face this fearsome creature. The hero model's mount or itself, if the hero is a wild warg, causes terror, which is nice. That's a good one.
See, notice the difference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a much more useful thing, isn't it?
And 100%. That's a company hero upgrade. You'd spend points on that, all day long. But yeah, it's
yeah. So, yeah, and the only advance. Did you say the advancement? Sorry,
No, I didn't do the advancement. Sorry. Wild warg becomes a warg rider with a choice. So basically, a wild warg gets a rider.
Yeah. So, but I think that the way they kind of think about it is that this warg is now being tamed enough to have for us to put a rider on it. Now, being warg riders, they have a 2/3 cavalry limit. So once you get up to full model count, you can have 10 warg riders. So that's nice. Don't tell us about the wild wargs.
So a wild warg, there's so many going on. A barbara. Sorry.
Are you okay? Are you having like a crisis? Or?
I'm in a seizure here. No, so a wild warg has claws and teeth. Movement 10, fight 3, 5+. I would love to see a wild warg shoot. Strength 4, defense 4, attacks 1, wounds 1, and courage of 2.
Yep, and the only other model there is a warg rider who has armor, sword, and, funnily enough, a warg. They can have a shield, a bow, and throwing spears as their options, and they have the basic orc profile of movement 6, fight 3, with a 5+ for shooting, strength 3, defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, and a courage of 2. I love warg riders.
So just looking at this, looking at the stats there, strength 4, defense 4 for the wargs, defense 4 to start. Yeah, I mean, look, they get across the board quick. Yeah, I think they're interesting. I mean, you played them, you've got your own, you've got Mr. Biscuits.
I've done a Mr. Biscuits was my wild warg leader. Yeah, I use these for a full kind of multi-person campaign, and they're really interesting to play with for a number of reasons. I mean, I think they are very much your glass cannon. You know, they are. You're not the wargs. You can't get like a standard warg can't get above defense 4. You know, if it's a hero, you could get him armor because armor's available to warg riders. So you can put some armor on a warg, so you can make them defense 5. Warg riders can get up to defense. I mean, you could get a wild Warg hero up to defense 6 with a defense increase. But yeah, you haven't got high defense, but you have got, starting at strength 4 is decent. But I think the main reason that I love this company is the fact that there are wargs as part of your starting thing, and that means that you get very limited opportunities to have wargs in companies. So I think when you do, that's when you want to be getting half of the beast and half of the stalker out, one of each, and getting all of your interesting different special rules that come with being on those paths. Like for Mr. Biscuits, he was on path of the beast, and he so he got brutal power attack. So that's where. So he was using the Rend special rule a lot. So the Rend's brutal power attack, which means that you don't roll against your target's defense, you roll against their strength. So you've got a Warrior of Minas Tirith, defense 6. Oh, he's in the shield wall. So he's defense 7. It's like, cool. What's his strength? Oh, the strength is 3. Oh, I'm strength 5, so it's 5s on 3. So that's 3s to wound you rather than 5s. It's like, cool. Just ripping people in half. But yeah, having massive amounts of cavalry. You can give throwing spears to everyone apart from the wargs, obviously. I mean, there's nothing to say you can't give a wild warg a throwing spear if he's a hero, because it's available to the warg. But let's not go there. It's a slight stretch saying arm. Actually, you can get an armored horse, so you can get an armored warg. I just wouldn't want to be the guy that's trying to put the armor onto the warg. It's like, hold still whilst you kind of fully rip an arm off of me. But yeah, the throwing spears. In fact, you've got shooting on warg back. Yeah, I think they're just really, really fun. I mean, they are only fight 3, everyone across the board, and you're only going to get up to fight. Increase your fight value if you're if you roll it on your upgrade table. But the maneuverability of them is massive, and I just really like them, and they're just fun. And the fact you've got throwing spears, so you can stay out of range and do some terrible throwing because they're only 5+ to shoot. But you can stay at 6 inches out of range and go, well, actually, I can either charge in this instance, or I can just stay back a turn. And
so would I be right in saying you could charge in, throw the spear, get +1 for the charge, so throw the spear, potentially hit someone, call it heroic combat? Oh, even doing that, going in, I think the throwing spears make them interesting. Also, the fact that they can have a bow, you got that kind of just going route. Would it? Yeah. On the movement then, because on the back of a warg, how does that work with a bow? Is it the same as normal? Is it? I'm trying to remember.
So you could move 5 inches and shoot on a -1, or you could but you're hitting on 6s then, which is just
no. To be fair, I think the bows then become honesty shots, really, don't they? It's just if you have the chance to shoot,
I think basically all of orc shooting and all of orc throwing spears is honesty shots. So when we were doing our campaign before, Ben was using Rivendell, who obviously got very good shooting, and I worked out. So I had at this point I think I had 10 models with throwing spears, and I think yes, it was 5+ to hit, and then it was going to be 6s to wound. So it was a 1 in 5 and 1 in 6, so 1 in 30 chance of me causing a wound. Then I factored in the fact there was all 10, and I think even with all 10, I think Ben was still more likely to cause one of my wargs a wound with his guy, because he was sitting on 3s. Strength 3 shooting, and he had the hunter special rule, which means that on wargs and cavalry you get +1 to wound. So he was strength 3 shooting, +1 to wound. So it was, Anyway, enough boring stats. Elf shooting good, orc shooting bad.
Bad.
But it's the sort of thing, it can come up. You can charge in, you can throw a throwing spear, you can kill someone with it, and you can charge into someone else. If you've got a battle line of 10 of them with throwing spears, it can happen. It can happen. It gives you options. It gives you, it also means the fact that you can move full and you still use a throwing spear. It means that you can move 10 inches forwards and throw a throwing spear 8 inches, so you can hit someone 18 inches away.
Yeah, which is still pretty cool.
Which is something that people have to think about when they, it's like, okay, well, I'm here. It's like, well, cool that you're there. We can move all these. So I had it before where I had a group of them coming around a corner, like a group of 5 of them. It's like, no, I can't charge you, but I can come around the corner, stay 7 inches away so that you can't charge me next turn, and I can throw 5 throwing spears at your guys, and it's just.
And the next turn you can just pull away a little bit. Just keep it.
Next turn, if you win priority, you can charge straight in there. If you lose priority, you can pull back. So and the fact that later on, 2/3, with 2/3 cavalry limit, 10 cavalry models that are strength 4 charging around. That isn't fun to come up against, especially when you get kind of some of the, if they're heroes or they've got special rules or whatever. So how would you play?
I've just been looking at it. So obviously I go back down. It's it would be, I potentially get one of the Warg Riders on Path of the Night, just to see what you could get up on that, if it's a charge or mount.
And then buy him a lance.
Yeah, get him a lance, yeah. But yeah, no, I think I get one of the Warg.
I think that's a solid shout, is do that and get him a lance, because these +1 to wound on the charge.
Yeah. So but yeah, no, I think I'd get one of them Path of the Night. I would go. It's just lots of things there, like Skillful Rider, Devastating Charge, what's mounted when the hero charges in combat against one or more man-sized models, or D6 for each. On a 5+, that model was immediately not prone. It's that can make one of them quite tasty. That would probably be my leader, Warg Rider, on Path of the Night. So I'd do that and roll on the upgrades and hope I get some of those ones early doors, and then go into Path of the Beast on one of my Wild Vargs, and then possibly Path of the Stalker as well. So
for me, I have no regrets about putting a wild Warg as my leader and having it Path of the Beast. And with the amount that you get to put I would have one on Path of the Beast, one on Path of the Stalker, and I'd absolutely have one on a Warg Rider as Path of the Night. Is it the best thing to do in terms of tactically winning? Probably not. Because if you've got a cavalry model, when you charge, you get an extra attack. So an extra attack means an extra chance to wound. So with an extra chance to wound, you're going to have a better chance of leveling up that model quicker. So if you want to level up quicker, then by all means ignore the Wargs entirely, and not until they become heroes in the making do you bother doing that. So there's that. But yeah, there's interesting things that you can do. Let me just bring up something that I got an email from Rob, who we had on the podcast before, from the community edition, who kind of sent some stuff over about Warg Riders, and he said how important getting a rallying horn is as soon as possible as part of your equipment. So a rallying horn, that will cost you 5 influence points. If one or more models with a rallying horn are on the board, the battle company may add 1 or -1 to any reinforcement rolls in the secure the area scenario. Additionally, whilst the bearer of the rallying horn is alive, your company gains a +1/-1 when rolling on the reinforcement or special chart. So that's why you bring it, that second part, because if there are 4 influence company, so you don't want to just burn 4 influence. So if you know that if you've got 5 influence, you can basically, no matter what you roll, you can kind of maneuver it whenever you need to maneuver it to. So it means you'll never get nothing, and you could, move it around to get whatever you want, essentially. So that rallying horn is pretty useful. So let me just right, Path of the Stalker. This is really, really interesting. Okay, well, actually, it's not, because we're talking about battle companies and we're geeks, so it's not. So no one else is this interesting. If you haven't watched our episode or listened to our episode on the hero pass, then you're maybe about to learn something. But with the Path of the Stalker, the hero gains the mercenary ambush special rule, counting as a mercenary goblin captain. See mercenary goblin captain upon embarking on this path. So the mercenary goblin captain is a profile which you'll find in your Hobbit army list book. Now, what it means is that if you've got a hero that's got the mercenary ambush special rule, he can have as many models as he likes within his little war band, and then they don't deploy on turn 1. At the end of turn 2 onwards, he takes a courage test. If he passes that courage test, he and all of his friends can deploy anywhere on the board. It has to be within a piece of scenery. I think that's correct.
Yeah.
So it's like we're talking about the secure. There's 2 things with the seas ground thing. One is that you go, okay, turn 2, I've turned up. Oh, I've got 5 wargs, and we're in the center. We've been secretly hiding out in the center of the board. That's cool.
That would be good.
But their courage is only 2. So I have tried to do this before and gone every turn. Fuck. It's like, and then you got like a hero model that doesn't turn up and doesn't turn up and doesn't turn up, and man, is that a frustrating thing when that happens? But yeah. So,
but you think what's that? So literally here right now. So it's 2 dice. Gonna roll it now. So I got 9. I'd turn up.
Yeah, you turn up. Of course you would. Well, you would roll a 9 now because we're not playing the game yet. Right.
No.
So the other thing which is really interesting, particularly with scenarios where you need to have a certain amount of models within a certain amount of space, like the one we just spoke about today, is the idea of dismounting coming off of your Warg. So any model who is riding a mount can choose to dismount as part of their movement phase. Every model apart from Wargs just immediately fails a courage or just flees. Wargs, on the other hand, when you dismount a Warg, you do a courage test with them. If they pass that courage test, then they stay on the board as an extra model.
Oh. Well, because I was. Oh.
So whilst you've got, like, let's say end game, whilst you've got 15 models on the board, 10 of them being Warg riders, effectively you've got the potential to have 25 models on the board. I mean, it's unlikely you get that many past their courage test, but what it means is if you take a Warg rider and charge them to an objective, you can then Like
Drop the right.
you can jump him off his warg, and then there's 2 models holding that objective rather than 1.
Yeah.
So if he's a guy with a bow, he could take two warg riders with bows, charge them over to an objective. Both of the bowmen get off. If the wargs then stay, and then the wargs can then go and just circle around and protect that, whilst the 2 shooty people sit on the objective, firing shots at anyone comes near and missing them.
I like that.
Yeah, they're cool. They're really cool.
For such a simple battle company, you have a lot more variance in it. And plus also the fact you've got the beasts in there and you can choose different hero paths, which just makes it interesting. And the fact that their company upgrade is Terra, which is even, could you imagine that? Charging into there, drop a couple of guys off, and then you got Dewar going round, got Terror on it, you got Dewar just going patrolling around, and people can't even get to you. Like go to charge in, nope, don't, and then Dewar and then you're just pinging a couple of bows or throwing some spears at them, So yeah, simple touches make it quite interesting. And then, like you said, the rallying horn, I like that. And there's a couple of interesting things. I like it. Yeah,
and so you should. So I'm just going to bring up my my company here. So I know I tell a lot. I did not have Mr. Biscuits as my leader. I did actually do something sensible and had a Warg Rider on path of the General as my. But yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I had 4 models causing terror.
Wow.
Which, it's useful. So yeah, part for the beast, your most likely upgrade is a 7, and that is terror. So that's the only thing about the company hero rule, is that if you do put someone on the path of the beast, then chances are they're going to get terror anyway. So
yeah.
But still very good. Also, I sometimes forget this, and when I remember it, it makes me very, very happy, because this company features my favorite named model I've ever named, I think.
What is it?
So anyone who knows me will know that I am a ridiculously big fan of wordplay and puns and stuff like that. So one of my Warg riders is called Warg Malberg. So, not Mark Wahlberg, Warg Malberg.
Just works.
It just works. It makes me very happy. But yeah, I maxed out the company with 15, and had 10 Warg riders, 5 just wild Wargs. All the Warg riders had throwing spears. So Mr. Biscuits ended up strength 5, defense 5, 2 attacks, only fight 4. But he had. I bought him a lucky talisman. If you're having a Warg hero, get them a lucky talisman. So can't remember how many influence points that is. Let me just check this. But it allows you to re-roll fate. So two influence points. A hero with a lucky talisman may re-roll any failed fate rolls. So with something that's going to struggle to get a high level defense, a lucky talisman. I like the idea of Mr. Biscuits there with a little rabbit's foot around his neck, or like someone's face just hanging off on a little.
I know. I think he needs to have a rabbit's foot. I think I find that even better. Just the fact that he's just got a little bit of something nice, about him. He's not all bad.
Yeah. So there's interesting things you can do with regards to the equipment and stuff with Warg Riders as well. And one of the things that I did, this is kind of later game when you've got influence points to burn a little bit, is there's something called the Scroll of Courage, which again I'm going to have to check how many influence points that costs.
That's two. It's 2.
And then Scroll of one. Scroll of Courage 1. So at the start of the game, the hero may read the Scroll of Courage. If they do, all friendly models add +1 to their courage for the remainder of the game. Obviously, orcs, wargs, terrible courage, like 2 across the board. They are not going to do well against things which cause them terror. If you think there's a chance you're going to get broken easily, then having the ability to have +1 to your courage alongside any other courage upgrades, like lead by example or whatever, is great. Oh, and a war drum. Having a war drum as well. Great thing to have, because it means that you can move 5 extra inches if you're cavalry, or 3 extra inches if you're infantry. So we want to talk about the scenario we were just talking about. Today's scenario, the siege ground one. Well, how about starting off with every single one of your models being able to move, all of the cavalry models being able to move 15 inches? Like, you're going to be...
Well, that's half the board. You're straight across it. You're straight into the middle of the board already, aren't you?
Yeah, so 4 influence points. At the start of the move phase, a model with a war drum may declare they are sounding in advance. When this occurs, all models from the same battle company within 12 inches of the drummer add 3 inches to their movement if they're on foot, or 5 inches if they are mounted for the remainder of the turn. Models that are affected by a war drum may not charge in that turn, and only evil models are allowed on. But spending 4, again, this is talking kind of later game with them. Once you've got some spare influence points, once you've got all your upgrades and stuff, having like 15 models all being able to move 13 to 15 inches on your first turn, just go, off we go. Put your war drum guy in the middle, everyone in the central 2 foot. And it doesn't say anything. This isn't like a heroic move where you've got to finish within a certain distance. This is just like, if you can hear the war drum at the start of the turn, boom, go, fly, my pretties, off you go. So they're really, really fun to play with. Their defense is crappy, and I don't.
The thing is, you can run around. The thing is, though, you get the extra attack on the charge. Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? So, but yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that the fact is that when you have that many models, you've got that many models, and they are 10 out of 15 are cavalry. If you call a heroic move with someone, and you call it with me, and all of them people can charge, you're like, well, essentially you're spending a point of might, but you're doubling your attacks from 10 to 20.
I mean, that's disgustingly beautiful.
Yeah. So I am a huge fan of them. I very much enjoyed playing with them in the previous campaign. It would be nice if there was some sort of extra variety in there somewhere, but I think that ends up coming in your hero path choices. But I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10 because
they see. I see they're quite interesting, although very simple. They just give a bit of variety on it, and I would be sitting about 7.5 out of 10. I would say on that.
Just to be different for me.
100%. Anything to be different, Chris.
Anything to be different.
So, but yeah, I do. I just find them quite. They look quite interesting. I've not come across them yet. I've not played you with them yet. I think we played one game possibly. There was like a one-off game we played with it. But yeah, I'd like to play them and see what they're like. And yeah, but they seem quite interested. They seem tricky if played correctly. They seem just one of those a nuisance, like a splinter in your hand, like just like and you can do that, and you can do that, and you can do that, like So it's it'll be one of those ones where you probably want to weather the storm with them a bit more, or have a bit more shooty to see if you can get a few of them knocked off the wargs, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, facing elf shooting particularly, that I mean, good shooting is where they really struggle. I remember one game against Ben with his Rivendell. I think it was the claim the treasure one where you've got the 6 different light objects and it's whoever's got the most. And he grabbed a few of them and then just went, yeah, I'm going to stay back here. And he just like pulled back to his board edge.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I'm just going to get, what choice have I got? And like, I'm just going to get decimated.
Come at me, brah.
Yeah, I was like, well, either is one of the things where you're like, well, yeah, I can understand why you've done it, but at the same time, I came to have fun actually, so we could have just gone. My movement turn is to not move. What's your movement turn? I am also not going to move. Yeah, so their downside is against shooting, and they don't have great shooting themselves. So, but you have got maneuverability. So if you can survive the couple of rounds of shooting before you can get into combat, then jobs are good. Poor fight value, but there's fun to be had. So two more things I want to mention. I know it's quite obvious that I really love this company. One is the power of getting fell sight, which I believe you can get on both hero part. Both
Beast and
can you get on both of them?
No,
Beast.
you get keen sight against it. Yeah. So yeah.
Stalker gets it most likely as its 7 upgrade, and part of the Beast only gets it on a 9, which is still fairly likely. So fell sight means that you don't have to have line of sight to charge, which
that's a nice one to have.
It's so handy, especially when you get like once they've upgraded a bit. It's nasty because people forget it. It's like, oh, I'm around this corner. It's like, what's your point?
Yeah,
I can smell you.
I can smell.
So yeah, great fun. And the other thing is that there's no special chart, so you can easily, you're getting there's not a big variety in the amount of models. It's either a Warg or a Warg Rider, but you can quickly fill up your fill your cup, and fill your company roster up, without having to break too much of a sweat. And
they're still cheap. They're cheap to get hold of. Like
you get 6. Yeah, you like standard Mordor orcs for your dismounts, and you can, Wargs are pretty cheap on eBay secondhand, or they still sell the plastic kits, which are a bit more expensive, but to start you can start for 20 quid.
Yeah, you got enough.
One box of Warg Riders.
It's just start a company.
You start a company, but yeah, I mean, I guess that would be like, from a logistical point of view, you would need two full boxes, maybe 3 full, 2.5 full boxes. So you'd need 3 boxes of Wargs to get the full company. But 60 quid and some Mordor orcs. What price can you put on fun? About 60 quid a pound.
What's the price of fun? 60 quid.
60 quid. Well, I had worse offers. Yeah. Well, I think that's the most excited I've been about our company. I got nostalgic about Mr. Biscuits.
And you got the most excited you got, and then you gave him an 8.
Well, that's because they do have their shooting is crap, and they are very susceptible to good shooting. So,
you're saying
glass
what
cannons.
price would you put? What price would you put on fun? The Wargs is actually £12.50 for a box. Oh, that's just the wild Wargs. That's just the wild ones. That's without the orcs.
Okay, without the orcs is on top.
I'm just finding that now. Like, the price for fun.
The price for fun. How much is the price for fun? Yeah. Oh, I do. I'll have to have a game with them at some point just to be nostalgic. It's really, and it's also like if you want to properly get into it, some really nice Warg Rider 3D prints out there, which just are pretty.
Oh, pretty.
So
They're not here.
What?
I can't see him. I can't see him on the Warhammer store. I'm having a. Oh, Warg Riders. Oh no, it's not good. It's $27.50. The price.
$27.50. That's disgusting. Well, I mean, I say it's disgusting, but I bought some Easterling cataphracts for 6 riders for $27.50 the other day. So I can't really. But I've just gone on eBay. $15.75 or best offer for 6.
Yeah, I think I got 10 Warg Riders for it was literally £10, I think it was. So you can get them cheap on the eBay, and 3D prints. But also, yeah, it's all good. I think I'd like to play against your Wargs. Get Mr. Biscuits out again, let's see.
Get Mr. Biscuits out, ripping out throats, and
that's it.
Taking numbers. Whatever it is.
I would need to go cavalry against you on that. I need something to chase you around the board on that.
Yeah. But there we go. Good, clean fun.
Well, excellent. And yeah, I've got not much else to say. You got much else to say?
I haven't got anything else to say other than hopefully we can play soon. And
the only other thing, so I'll jump in there, is Games Workshop has finally given Lord of the Rings some new models.
Some new model. I mean, I'm not going to complain because I mean, particularly I really like the Aragorn model that they released, and the mounted Aemir model, but they are not cheap. Like the mounted Aemir is £20. It's just like, okay, but they're look, I'm pleased that they are giving the game some love, but
a little bit of love.
It's just frustrating where it's like a made-to-order thing, and it's 6-month delivery time. It's like spend £42.50 now, and in 6 months you'll have 7 models. Like, thanks.
Yeah.
But I've got more Legolasses than I can count. There's only one of the Legolas. I'll just send you one. Jesus, I've got like 9 of them.
I'll take one.
I'll keep a Legolas model.
I think the thing is also, well, I mean, look, you got the new movie getting done. Games Workshop owns the rights for Lord of the Rings models. Will they do something? Is this a setup to get
Rings of Power Season 2 coming out? I mean, regardless of what you think about the series, if they're going to do a first age type thing, if they nail that, if they kind of take what people think was wrong with it and correct it, and they get some love, then who knows what they could do with it. But yeah, I'm more excited about the Arnold models. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
So that is what I'm actually excited about, because I can only see it that if they've got, they've announced a new Arnold captain, they've announced Arnold cavalry, they very strongly hinted about new Arnold, just warriors of Arnold. It's like, I don't believe the Games Workshop will go to all of the effort to create, to flesh out a whole new army, which has not had a huge amount of models in the past, without going, here's a brand new box set.
Yeah, it's
because that's where they make them. That's surely that's where they make their money, is by going, okay, here's £120 box set. and it's going to
Yeah.
be an Arnor thing and an Angmar thing, and there's a possibility of it's in the lore, so there's a possibility of if there is a whole Angmar thing of there being werewolves.
That would be nice. That would be interesting. That would add some flavour in, wouldn't it? Like, that would be a bit.
I mean, not in battle companies, but like werewolf, like running around fight 7, just
Ripping.
just ripping just tearing people's shit up. Just maybe not that, but but yeah, later in the year they say, so we'll see. I'm pleased. I'm pleased that it's getting some love because
it's needed it, but
yeah, if they could redo the more O'Rourke sculpts at some point, that'd be great. 20 years.
They're so old.
They're so old.
So
yeah,
but yeah, no, it's all good. So
right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening to the Good Enough Battle Companies podcast. I'm Chris from Good Enough Scenery, joined by as ever by Stephen. Yep, you do that bit.
Yeah, I'm Stephen from When I Can Hobby. Yeah, so I'm Steve from When I Can Hobby, and yeah, it's been great fun. It's been a little while. Sorry, guys. Life has been busy, but yeah, hopefully we'll be getting back onto it a bit more. So, thanks to everyone who's actually watched in the chat on YouTube. We had a few.
So thank you very much for that, and we'll catch you for another episode soon. Bye.
Bye.
And now we have the awkward moment where I try and end it, and I can't. There we go. No, you see, I thought it was. My fat thumb pressed the wrong thing again.
This is what everyone's here for. Am I still here? I think you've just left me on.